After the mayor of Detroit declared the Brick Mansions district the most dangerous place in the city, violence on the streets spiked. Because of this, and the fact that the murder rate had hit a 40-year high, the mayor decided to turn the housing project into a no-go zone. He had a 40-foot wall built to seal it off, completely cutting the district off from the rest of the city. Behind the scenes, the mayor was actually pitching a massive development project to investors, planning to build on the city's most valuable 20 acres of land. During a meeting, the developers pointed out that since the land was occupied by the Brick Mansions project, they'd have to bulldoze everything and start from scratch. When investors asked what would happen to the current residents, the mayor promised that he would take care of them. Inside the quarantined zone, a guy named Lino is facing a tough call. Meanwhile, a group of thugs led by K2 rolls up on some people having a cookout, and K2 explains he's there to collect from Lino. K2 knows Lino is upstairs and mocks him, saying that the guy thinks he can change the neighborhood with 20 kilos of cocaine. Suddenly, two of Lino's guards pull their guns on K2. Upstairs, Lino is in the middle of destroying the cocaine by dumping it into the bathtub. K2's men kill the two guards and storm the building with weapons. Meanwhile, Lino is rushing to mix floor cleaner into the cocaine to destroy it as fast as possible. K2's team makes it to Lino's door. Just as they're about to smash it open, Lino jumps out, takes down all the gunmen, and starts parkouring away like a monkey. The people in the building don't even bat an eye. They're totally used to it. K2 finds his 20 kilos of cocaine in the bathtub and gets furious. He goes after Lino, knowing his boss, Tremaine, will kill him if he fails. He can't keep up with Lino as he maneuvers through the building, so he even uses a grenade. But Lino manages to survive and escape. Meanwhile, Damian Collier is chilling with a whiskey and some music, studying files on Tremaine Alexander's crew before locking onto his first target. At a restaurant, a man named George is demanding to know who gave his phone number to K2. Since the shipment was lost, they need 20 kilos fast before Tremaine kills them. When they ask who's going to handle the delivery to Brick Mansions, Damian says he's got it covered. Inside the district, Tremaine Alexander is calmly chopping vegetables. He tells K2's team that if you have the right ingredients, the recipe never fails. He's furious that Lino got away with the 20 kilos, and even after sending a whole crew to get it back, they failed and lost even more men. Tremaine warns K2 not to blame a woman for his screw-ups. He lays into him, "You lost me 5 men, so maybe I should just make you the 6th. As he asks if anyone has a good idea, he spots one of his guys standing there with a goofy smile, and just executes him on the spot. With his gun still aimed at K2, he demands to know the plan. K2 suggests kidnapping Lino's girlfriend to flush him out. Tremaine agrees and tells him not to come back until he's caught them. Meanwhile, a van pulls up to a shop and George hops out. He brings along Damian, who he's been working with for a year, inside a dry cleaner's shop. George greets the Chinese owner in Mandarin, uses a special coin to unlock a washing machine, and reveals a secret room. Once inside, Damian quietly activates a signal on his watch. They order the workers to prep the 20 kilos for the drop-off to K2. George explains the economics of the business to Damian. Drugs are cheap in Southeast Asia, but the price triples every time they cross a border. By the time they hit the US, the profits usually plateau. But because Brick Mansions has become its own lawless border town, the street value of the coke has skyrocketed to $5 million a year. He shows Damian a GPS tracker he's set up to map the delivery route. Suddenly, George realizes they're being watched from a van outside and pulls his gun. While he's hunting for the snitch, one of his high-as-a-kite goons starts messing with a shark tank and gets shot for it. George hands his gun to Damian and orders everyone to bail. Damian triggers his watch signal and the cops move in. Damian blows his cover, arrests George, and orders the guys to dump all their weapons into the shark tank. A stray thug grabs a gun off a dead guy, and a firefight breaks out. While Damian is busy taking down the unarmed guards, George makes a run for it. He jumps onto the back of a moving car to escape. Damian gives chase. George tries to shake him off by speeding, all while firing shots at Damian. Damian manages to climb into the trunk, shoves the driver out, and keeps throwing hands with George until he crashes the car right into a concrete barrier in front of a police station, literally delivering George to the front desk. The cops demand he surrender, so Damian tells them the guy he just dragged in is one of their most wanted criminals, and that he's an undercover narcotics detective. When they ask for his ID, he just gives them the middle finger. Back home, he cleans up and looks at a photo, marking Tremaine as his next target. Meanwhile, K2's crew gets a 1-hour pass from a corrupt cop and rolls into Detroit. They corner Lola, a waitress at the diner. She tries to run, but K2's team grabs her. Damien visits his grandfather, who's busy sneaking a cigarette. The old man is reading the news about George's arrest, telling Damien not to believe everything he reads, since the media loves to exaggerate. He jokes that they're reporting this idiot narcotics detective drove 80 kilometers an hour and fired 300 rounds. Damien tells him he's getting closer to taking down Tremaine. His grandfather reminds him that justice and revenge aren't the same thing, adding that Damien is the only family he has left. As a deal, he agrees to quit smoking, but only 1 cigarette a day, while Damien is out on the job. Lola, Lino's girlfriend, is dragged into a room in brick mansions. As thugs tear at her clothes, Tremaine enters, asking what they're doing. He uses a razor to cut her bonds, telling them he wants to talk business. When he demands to know where Lino is, she denies even having a boyfriend, but Tremaine doesn't buy it. When she tells him she doesn't care what he's heard, Lino suddenly drops from the ceiling, holding a gun to Tremaine's head. They get into a standoff. Lino forces Tremaine to tell his men to back off, then uses Tremaine and K2 as human shields to escape. He throws the car keys to Lola, who drives while K2's group pursues them. Despite the lockdown, they speed through the city, and Lola drives straight into the military blockade. Tremaine's group stops outside the restricted area to watch. Tremaine is handed over to the officers, but in a twist, Lino is the one who gets arrested. Tremaine smugly claims his bribes paid off. As Lino screams that he'll kill him for taking Lola, Tremaine tells him in French that this is just politics. It's life. After seeing Lola taken away, Lino attacks the commander, headbutting him with full force. Meanwhile, Detective Damien is meeting with the mayor. He learns that the Collier family has a history in the city, with Damien's father having led the original operation before dying in an accident, which led to the wall being built. Major Reno reveals that a government transport vehicle was hijacked. It was carrying a neutron bomb. It has an anti-theft system that will trigger the bomb if anyone tries to tamper with it without the code. Damien is tasked with sneaking in to find the bomb and get the code. He learns the thief is Tremaine Alexander, a former soldier-turned-arms dealer who rules the district. Knowing Tremaine won't leave the district, Damien is told he needs a local expert, specifically the French-Caribbean fighter, Lino. Damien gets himself arrested to get close to Lino, who is currently locked up for killing a cop. While being transported in a van, Damien reveals his true nature. He uses a needle to pick his handcuffs, breaks out of the van, fights off the guards, and successfully rescues Lino. They reach a bridge. Lino takes off his cuffs and prepares to leave, but decides he needs the car, leading to a scuffle. They agree to team up. When Damien mentions they're headed to Brick Mansions to catch Tremaine, Lino asks why, and Damien admits he wants revenge for his father. Lino mentions his ex-girlfriend is held captive there, so they smash through an old gate in the wall and crash-land the car. Lino leaves Damien behind, telling him he looks like a cop, but soon after, they encounter thugs demanding compensation for the crashed car. They fight their way out, dodging gunfire from the rooftops. Tremaine tells the captive Lola that he is the neighborhood's provider and respects Lino's fighting spirit. Upon hearing Lino has escaped prison, he shuts down a noisy gaming session and prepares for battle. Meanwhile, as Lino watches Lola, Damien sneaks up and handcuffs him. When asked how he knew he was a cop, Damien replies, "You don't fit in," and frankly admits he tracked him using a device. They argue about the bomb. Damien tries to convince him it's real, and Lino eventually agrees to help save Lola. Lino breaks his cuffs and demands Damien's phone to call Tremaine, warning him that he's coming. They walk right into Tremaine's base. Lino points at Damien and tells Tremaine he's a cop here to stop the bomb. Tremaine mocks them, showing off the ticking bomb and a rocket launcher. He reveals there's only 40 minutes left. When asked if Lola was safe, he pointed toward another window where they could see her being brought out to be strapped to the rocket. Restraining the furious Lino, Tremaine began the auction for the bomb at $12 million, as his crew had requested. He remarked that money wasn't the main point here, but that it was up to them to decide how much the people were worth. When a thug nearby blurted out $20 million, Tremaine was asked what he actually wanted. He replied that he wanted $30 million, $10 from each of the 3 million people in the city. Damien agreed and had them call the officers at the station, confirming the bomb was real and that there were only over 40 minutes left until detonation. He requested the $30 million be wired to Tremaine's Hawaiian bank account. However, when the mayor refused, claiming there was no money and telling them to handle it themselves, Damien calmly lied to Tremaine, telling him the money was on its way. Although asked to disarm the bomb first, Tremaine noted there was still time before the banks opened for the transfer. He had Lino and the others sent to a holding cell until dinner was ready, remarking that sometimes you don't need to be a missile expert. You just need to have a missile. K2 then ordered the guards to keep Lino and the others locked up and to keep a close watch on them, since they were worth more than life itself, until the $30 million was received. Lino, who had thought that paying the money would resolve the situation, realized that since the mayor refused to pay, 3 million people would die. He then lashed out at Damien, calling him a liar. When Lino asked if it was true that Tremaine had killed his friend, Damien told him the truth. Tremaine had captured and killed his father, who had fallen out with him over anti-drug operations. Deciding it was time to teach Tremaine a lesson, they faked a medical emergency, feigning breathing difficulties. Because K2 had ordered the guards to protect their lives at all costs, the guard released them from the cell. Tremaine, watching the bomb through a scope, felt uneasy and asked K2 where the bomb came from. K2 explained that it came from an inside tip about an unattended vehicle with the keys left in it, making it easy money. Tremaine warned him never to trust anything that comes too easily. Lino and Damien, who had been faking the illness, attacked the guards and tried to escape. Lino, a parkour expert, easily vaulted over the enclosure, and Damien followed by jumping down from the ceiling. Lino and Damien sped away in Tremaine's car, with Tremaine's henchmen in hot pursuit, firing at them. Although they managed to lose their pursuers in a cloud of dust, they were forced to slam on the brakes after being pinned down by a sniper while trying to head back to the bomb. Realizing they couldn't advance against the sniper, Damien gave the order to move fast, and they scrambled onto a bus to hide from K2's men. Despite being told to stay down, Lino popped his head up, drawing heavy fire, but they narrowly managed to escape the scene. After splitting up and regrouping, they threw bricks at the pursuing cars, causing them to crash into each other. During the chaos, a sniper's bullet grazed Damien's ear. Realizing where the shot came from, they climbed onto the roof to take out the gunman while he was reloading. The team monitoring Brick Mansions contacted the mayor's office and reported that, according to satellite imagery, the old Russian missile had a blast radius of 5 miles. If fired into the city, the neutron blast would be unstoppable, even by bunkers. Meanwhile, at Tremaine's base, the banks had opened, but the money hadn't arrived. Realizing he had been tricked, and that the funds in his own accounts had been wiped out, Tremaine furiously ordered Reza to launch the bomb. Damien used a sniper rifle to destroy the control panel and fired shots to scare Reza away. Tremaine ordered his thugs in Brick Mansions to choose between kill or be killed, and he had them seal off the building where Damien and Lino were located. While running through Brick Mansions, Lino began calculating the steps needed to jump from the rooftop to the adjacent building. Damien warned him it was a bad idea, but Lino countered, "Didn't you say you'd rather die trying?" and jumped through the window of the building across the way. Damien jumped after him, but was left dangling, getting shot at from below. Once he made it inside, they ran into a giant brute blocking the exit. They decided the plan was to knock the guy out, and engaged him in a fight. However, they couldn't overpower the giant, who shrugged off their punches. They ended up using ropes to tie him down so he couldn't move, and finished him off with a brick. Tremaine reached the missile and reactivated the machine. Looking out at the city, he muttered that you can't build a great future if you forget the past. Just as he prepared to fire, he had a change of heart. He didn't press the button, decided the game was over, and ordered Lola to be released. He claimed he wasn't a mass murderer, just a businessman, and that he would hand the bomb situation over to Lino and his group before leaving the area, criticizing him for being too soft. Reza decided to stick to her own plan and shot Tremaine. At that moment, Lola intervened, fought her off, and pushed her off the building to her death. As Damien and the others rushed in, Tremaine greeted them, claiming he was glad they had arrived to save everyone. Damien instructed Lino to enter the code he was expecting, while he prepared to arrest Tremaine. But Lola interjected, asking that Tremaine be allowed to explain himself. When Damien demanded an explanation regarding his father's death, Tremaine revealed that John Collier had been framed. He explained that Damien's father had been assassinated by his own fellow police officers before he had even entered the building, and that he had seen the surveillance footage of the body being dumped at his doorstep. Just as he said this, the code arrived on Lino's phone. Damien, blinded by his desire for revenge, was hesitant. Tremaine warned him to think carefully, suggesting that the mayor might be manipulating him, just as his father had been used in the past. However, before Tremaine could say more, he was knocked unconscious by Damien. Lino warned Damien, asking if he wasn't suspicious that the deactivation code was merely the city's zip code. He expressed his gut feeling that entering the code might trigger the bomb, but Damien headbutted him, apologized, and tried to enter the code. As time was running down, Lino intervened to stop him, and as the two began to fight, Lola screamed that time was running out. With 30 seconds left, Damien was about to enter the code, but Lino and Tremaine urged him to wait 5 seconds past the timer, pointing out that the car they had hijacked showed no signs of damage, suggesting the whole situation was a setup. When the timer ran out and the bomb didn't go off, Damien realized they had been played. Lino pointed out that the law did not protect this place, while Tremaine admitted that although he had committed many crimes, he had no part in killing Damien's father. Looking at his detective badge, Damien realized he wanted to do right by the people of the district, and he tossed the badge away. When Tremaine asked what they should do with the bomb, they decided to return it to the owner, and the residents of Brick Mansion stormed City Hall. Damien calls to Lino, who is always itching to run around, to take the elevator instead. They walk into the mayor's office, where the mayor is confused about why the bomb never went off. Tremaine greets him, introducing himself as the mayor of Brick Mansions. He places the bomb on the desk and pretends to have forgotten the code, only to re-enter the Detroit zip code. He grabs the mayor's hand and asks if he wants to press the button himself or if he should do it for him. The mayor lashes out at Damien, calling him weak, just like his father, for failing to follow orders precisely. When the mayor claims he sent the bomb himself to clean up that dangerous area for the city's safety, referring to the residents as nothing more than animals, Tremaine interjects. Are the people struggling to survive the animals, or are you the ones who want to kill women and children? When the mayor insists that, as mayor, he just wanted to clear out a nest of criminals for the sake of the citizens, Tremaine pulls out a recording device and points toward a video crew on the building across the street, telling him, "In 5 minutes, the truth about you will be all over the news. The Detroit mayor is arrested, the walls isolating Brick Mansions are torn down, and the new administration announces the reopening of schools and hospitals." In a revitalized city, no longer crawling with armed thugs, Damien meets up with Lino, who is teaching kids how to run. When Lola asks if they received a reward, Damien explains that Tremaine, who is now running for mayor, gave them the car, joking that it wouldn't be appropriate for a politician to drive such a vehicle. Damien and Lino remain lifelong friends, having successfully fought together for the freedom of Brick Mansions.